Good evening, everyone. I hope you're well. If you can see me, do say hello. I believe there are some people watching. I can see that there are some people watching. So do say hello. Let me know where you are, as always. We've got lots of you watching this evening. That's very good. I'm here to check in to see how you are, because we put a post up earlier on and there was a real mixed bag of responses asking how you all are. And I know a lot of people are finding it really, really tricky. So I'm here checking in with you. And do say hello. I'm keeping an eye on the comments. I think they're coming through. Hi, Paula in England. I'm in England too. Do let me know where you're from, everyone. It's always nice to see if there are any problem areas, actually. It tends to highlight it on our Facebook Lives. So remember, I don't bite, so do say hello. But I'm just checking in with you this evening to see how you all are. And also to make sure that you're aware of the amazing webinar sale, because actually some of you may have already seen, we've got a massive, our biggest ever webinar sale on from today until Sunday. There's 70% off all of our live webinars. And that brings the cost down to like £5 or £6 a ticket, which is crazy. But we wanted to give something back on this very privileged weekend of celebration of privileged people. We want to give something back to the community. So we're giving a massive 70% off this weekend on our webinars. So I thought I'd come here tonight to see if there's anybody who's struggling to get that 70% off, because I know it's tricky to spot the promo code box. But also to check in to see if anybody needs any help or validation. There's only so much I can do, obviously, from Zoom. There's a few of you commenting now. Hi, Kerry from Swansea. Hi, Elizabeth from North Wales. Oh, we've got like the big Welsh Massive joining us tonight. Hi, Lisa from Sheffield. Hi, Laura from Worcester. Worcester's definitely a problem, I've heard. I have heard. It's not a laughing matter, but we have to laugh, otherwise we'll just cry. Hi, Kim from Stafford. Did I already say that? I'm sorry if I did, or was that Sheffield? Do say hello. Kim says, not sure how I feel. Daughter's just been diagnosed with FND. What's FND? It might be that I already know this, but we have so many abbreviations of things in the world of SEND, typically enough, SEND. It could mean anything. So do message and say what it is. Hi, Chantal in Essex. Hi, Jenny in Liverpool. Liverpool's another problem area, isn't it? We have an awful lot of people in Liverpool. But good evening, everyone. How is your half term going, if you're still on half term? I think we confused a lot of American people earlier who were like, what's half term? But do say hello. So functional neurological disorder. Oh, that's a new one. Maybe some of our team know about that, actually, Kim. So if you want to have a chat to anybody about it, do let me know, and I'll see if anybody can shed some light on it for you. Hi, Maddie, how are you? So we've got lots of people watching. Do let me know how your half term is going. So I just wanted to clarify that, yes, we have 70% off all of our live webinars. And George, our amazing George, who you probably remembered from FII Awareness Week, George has been working non-stop, bless his heart, to produce as many webinars and publish them online for you so you can get the best use of this code, this discount code. But I'm here to clarify how you do it as well. So I'm going to record this. Obviously, it's live on Facebook. You can watch it back at any point. But essentially, if you are wanting to use the code, our promo code, which I can post, it's Jubilee70. It gets you 70% off our webinars. You want to go to the website. I don't know whether you can see this. Can you see where it says enter promo code? Let me tilt that a little bit, maybe that helps. So if you have a look there, it says enter promo code. I've circled it in the sunshine yellow. Hopefully you can see that. Oh, goodness me. It's showing every part of the screen except for the bit that I need. Could you see? Aha! Enter promo code. So when you're entering it, look for that. Click on that and just enter the promo code Jubilee70. It gets you 70% off our webinars. You can order as many as you like. I've noticed that some parents tonight have just ordered about 20 tickets because they know that that still is such an enormous discount, which is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So I'm just going to come back now and see if there's any questions. Jenny says, don't get me started on the Liverpool sending. We did a day of send in Liverpool a few years ago, Jenny. We spent about 13 hours delivering workshops in one of the hotels in the city centre. Oh my goodness, it was the strangest experience ever because the stories we were being fed, we thought we'd heard it all until we went to Liverpool. And then we were like, what? What are they doing? They can't do that. What? What? It was absolutely flabbergasting. So yes, I'm very aware. We have a lot of difficulties up there. So if we can help out, I'm in touch with somebody in Liverpool at the moment about delivering some workshops in person up there. But if you know anyone, any clubs, any groups, any parent carer forums that will benefit from us coming to visit, do let us know because we're back out on the road now and we're happy to visit and come and help you out. Kim says, so Kim's just mentioned a daughter has been diagnosed with functional neurological disorder. And Kim is saying she has seizures, tics, fatigue, paralysis, lots of different symptoms, been fighting for help for 2 years, along with autism and ADHD has been hell. Oh, Kim, it sounds like you've really been put through the ringer. And as we always say that, you know, the trickiest part of being a SEND parent is the fighting for diagnoses and fighting for help and support. So well done on pursuing that and being tenacious. If you want to come and have a chat to us, we've got our cuppa and chat next Wednesday. It's online. It's completely free of charge. Come along. It's all on our website. Do have a look. And maybe you might have people in the room that actually are also parents of children with the same condition. Katie says, I missed the Autism in Girls webinar from March. Is there any chance? And is there a chance this will be done again? Actually, Katie, you're in luck because it's actually available on our Sunshine Academy. So our Sunshine Academy, which I'll post a link to. So if anybody wants a link, please do comment saying, please give me the link to the Sunshine Academy. And afterwards, I'll post some links. Our Sunshine Academy is our entire back catalogue of top webinars. So you can access them at a time of day that suits you. And it's all for just a monthly subscription. It's very affordable. It's £9.99 a month. And you get access to something like £2,000 worth of webinars. And it gets updated all the time. And we're in a studio at the moment with a film crew. Not obviously right now, but currently in time over the next sort of few weeks. And we're filming brand new content that will be exclusive to the Sunshine Academy. So if you want to sign up for that, you're very, very welcome. Just comment and say that you need the link and I'll give you the link and you can sign up to it. It's very, very easy to do. So the Autism in Women and Girls webinar is actually on there. So it's a nice one to sort of watch again. Laura, does anyone else have a problem with family members accepting a child's diagnosis? Oh, Laura, yes. So many people have this problem. Even though he's diagnosed with autism, he has an EHCP and is due to start a special educational needs school. The family are rejecting it. I've given up talking to a brick wall and trying to explain. They're still saying he's naughty. You know, it's so hard to educate those who don't want to be educated. Perhaps, particularly, should I say, these sort of old, I can't even say it's a generational thing because I know plenty of people in older generations who are exceptional with this sort of thing, but it's a real narrow-mindedness sometimes. And I find that actually that narrow-mindedness makes the parenting all the more difficult, doesn't it? So you're definitely not alone. But Laura, come along to our cuppa and chat next week. Like I mentioned earlier, it takes place on Wednesday at 8:30. It's online, so you can access it from wherever you are. And we've usually got like 20, 30 parents in there. And we all go into different rooms, but you'll find there's other parents who have got this problem, and it's all about sharing ideas. So it's a really lovely forum, and it's free. Like I said, just come along, just come along. The details are on our website, but you're definitely not alone. That seems to be a real problem. An awful lot of people struggle with that. Oh, Kerry says, I'm benefiting from the new ALN bill in Wales, but still really struggling to get people to see past masking and no understanding of PDA, little understanding of autism in girls. Absolutely. PDA is still so new, even though it's been around, well, it was discovered, the profile was discovered in the 80s. There's still such a lot of controversy around whether it's autism, whether it's ADHD, whether it's both. Whether it's trauma and autism, whether it's trauma and ADHD, whether it's trauma full stop. It's really, really tricky. It really is. And I think, I know that we're edging closer, and there's an awful lot of research going on in the world of, or the field of PDA. But until that is nailed on, it makes it really, really difficult for us to gain acceptance and understanding within a community, whether that's your family, friends, the wider community, or of course, education, health and care, really, really tricky. We do have quite a lot of experience in this, in PDA. We also have a lot of experience with the ALN bill. So if you wanted to get in touch, we're more than happy to have a chat with you. Jenny says, my 4-year-old son currently out of nursery. He's autistic and non-verbal. EHCP been a joke. Draft and final came on the same day. Why do they do that? Our son needs a special school, currently waiting for tribunal. Liverpool Council are awful. Jenny, if you need a chat, we're here. We've got a team of advocates who are well versed in this. And actually, we've got quite a specialism in early years. So if you do need any help or a chat about it, just let us know. Just send us a message, send the page a message. Lots of people wanting the link. Oh, there's somebody joining me. So the link to the Academy has been posted, and it's not by magic. There's somebody amazing who's going to be commenting. I suspect it's George. So good evening, George. I've just spotted that you're with me. And oh, look at that. Another legend is in the audience tonight. Kathy Long. Sunshine Academy is a fabulous opportunity to become a SEND expert at a very reasonable price. And of course, Kathy features on the Sunshine Academy, and she is an absolute legend. I was actually talking to Kathy last night about my personal experience, and Kathy's very familiar with my personal experience because she was my independent social worker. We know each other far too well now for her to ever be my independent social worker. But at the time, we did not know one another. And my children were asking last night about what happened to us in our experience, which is what led me to sort of set up Sunshine Support. And my experience, the worst part happened about 6 years ago. And my littlies, I mean, well, actually, it was about 5 or 6 years ago. My littlies are nearly 8 and 10. And they were asking about the process, and they got very, very upset at us just relaying what social care had put us through. One of them said to me, when I explained to them what Kathy Long did, so Kathy is an independent social worker, my children said, wow, she saved our lives, Mum. It was very emotional. I had to ring Kathy and let her know, but she is a lifesaver. And the information that she shares in our workshops is absolutely so vital for parents to know, but also for professionals to watch as well. So Kathy features heavily on our webinars, on our academy, and she'll be doing lots more stuff for us as well. Evening, Annika. Even Sue. Even Sue. Evening, Sue. Oh, Kathy's just also commented, it's a common issue where other family members cannot or refuse to accept the child's diagnosis. So that was going back to the family members earlier that we were discussing. Sarah says, we lost most of our family when we informed them of our child's diagnosis. It was really painful at the time. They just exclude my child all the time. So we give them the distance for my child's benefit, definitely not alone. If you can maintain a relationship, then do so. Just protect yourself and your child in the process. It is all about protecting your child. Sarah is often at our cuppa and chats, actually. So there we go. There are people that are well versed in it. So if you need to come along, do come along. It's a lovely evening. Evening, Andy, another one of our cuppa and chat regulars. Sue says, I have family and friends who both struggle to understand my boys, but especially my youngest, who is recently diagnosed with autism and ADHD, which, let's be fair, is a really tricky combination because they're almost like the opposite presentations. And bless them, anybody, I mean, Kathy knows this, Kathy Long, she is autistic with ADHD, and you have almost two conflicting parts of your brain, you know, one that wants sporadic, spontaneous things happening, the ADHD brain, that's me, and then you have the almost the autistic side of things that wants routine, and it wants everything to be calm, and you know, everything needs to be dampened down in terms of stress. So you've got those two sides of the brain that are just fighting against each other. And you know, it's a spectrum. It can be very, very different for everybody, but talking to those who are autistic with ADHD, they seem to report very similar things. So it is a really tricky presentation. So many people lump them together thinking they're the same, and they're absolutely not. Lisa says, the nurse couldn't decide if it was autism or ADHD, so she diagnosed my child with ADHD and broader autism phenotype. Although I know this is controversial in the autism community and now waiting for full assessment. Yeah, just go for a second opinion on things. When it doesn't sound right, go for a second opinion. Kathy says, George Mulholland is a dream. We absolutely agree here at Sunshine. Sue says, Kathy, do you have knowledge about a special needs child being involved in a police investigation? Oh, I think we might have had this question sent to us today, and I have already sent it to Kathy. So I'll be chatting to her about it at some point. So I will get through, I will get back to you. So just to let everybody know, I'm glad that everybody's getting involved in the discussion here. Oh, there we go. Kathy's just said that her colleague Mary may know. So we will get to the bottom of it, Sue, I'm sure. So just to reiterate then, we have our 70% off sale that's running from today until Sunday. It drops the ticket prices down on our live events to like £5 or £6 a ticket. It includes all of the live events that we have published. So George has been working really hard to publish as many webinars as possible so you can take advantage of this code. We'll put the links in the comments. I think George might have already done that actually. But also our Sunshine Academy. For anything that you can't see on our live events, the chances are it's on our Sunshine Academy. Again, if you want the link, just pop a comment in the comments or send us a message and we'll absolutely get back to you with the links. Oh, George has quite lovingly put the link to our sale, so you should be able to see that. Oh, the question wasn't from you, Sue. Okay, but that's okay. So we are working on that. Whoever's asked us that question behind the scenes about the police, we are working on it. So we will get back to you as soon as possible. So hopefully what we're aiming for with this sale is that you feel better supported whilst we're off having a little break over the holidays. Now we have got a 4-day break. It's very, very likely that at least one of us will be having a little look from time to time on the Facebook page just to check that there isn't anybody needing some urgent advice, although we're not an emergency service. However, all the information you need, so the answers to an awful lot of the questions we receive will be available on the live webinars or the recorded webinars or the blogs and the resources on our website. You know, do check those out whilst we're away. And also, well, actually tomorrow night, even though it is bank holiday, we have our DLD webinar. So developmental language disorder, something that is very close to my heart because I have a child with developmental language disorder and she really loves to tell people about it. And she has had support with an EHCP from the age of 6, and it has made all the difference because she's a very, very confident little girl who absolutely loves to educate people about DLD. It also means that people don't get away with treating her in the wrong way. So if she suspects that there is some injustice, she calls people out on it. So if there's something she can't do, and somebody tells her off for not being able to do it, then she is not afraid whatsoever to say, hang on a minute, you know that's part of my DLD. I can't do that. So you can't tell me I'm naughty because I can't do that. And I think that is something that we hope for all of our children, to have those self-advocacy skills. And with DLD, the earlier you put that intervention in, science has shown us that these sorts of major improvements come about. DLD is the most common learning difficulty. It affects 2 to 3 children in every class of 30, and I'm sure it'll probably be more than that. It's just they're the ones we know about. But 2 to 3 children in every class. So, you know, we always ask teachers, who are your 2? There's definitely 2 in your class. Who are they? Identify them, give them support. And it's so difficult to get this information into schools. An awful lot of teachers don't know that DLD exists. They've never heard of it. They've heard of autism, but they've not heard of DLD. So we're very keen to start this movement to make sure that people understand that DLD is very common. It's up there with dyslexia. And it's very, very important that we get the awareness out there in order to get the acceptance and the support in for schools. Now, we've shared lots and lots of information on DLD. We've got, oh my goodness, so much information. Let me see if I can find something now that I can share with you. Because actually, an awful lot of people, they see it, they see the symptoms, but they don't necessarily know that it's DLD. Haha, I do have an image that I can share with you. So I will quickly share my screen. Give me 2 seconds. There we go. Can everybody see that? Let me just double check on my phone to make sure you can see that. So DLD, here is a little snapshot of what you can expect from a child with DLD. So they can appear defiant or rude because of their difficulties. It's usually because they have extreme difficulties in some cases with language that's going in, then put it that way. So it's, you know, understanding communication. It doesn't mean that they're stupid. It just means sometimes they cannot make sense of the information that's being given to them verbally. Quite often it's much more effective to have something visual to communicate with them, or make sure that they're in the right environment, because they can't separate sounds from one another. So if you're in a busy environment, like a classroom of 30, and you're trying to tell a child with DLD that they have an instruction of some type, then sometimes it's really tricky for that child to be able to differentiate the classroom noise from the teacher's voice. They would find it very, very hard to prioritize that sound. They can quite often have executive functioning impairments or disorders. And this is quite common in the field of SEND. You know, things like planning, things like impulse control. There's 7 areas of executive function. And there's, you know, if you find that your child is having difficulties with that, it needs to be investigated. Sometimes they struggle to understand the social rules of a conversation. And quite often, if you have a child who struggles with social rules, then an awful lot of people jump to autism straight away. But it isn't necessarily autism, and it needs a full investigation and an assessment. And as a result of all of this, you find that children with DLD tend to have social anxiety. And it's something my daughter definitely had, quite extreme social anxiety at one point. Now she doesn't have any, because she really understands herself, and she has direct speech and language, which has made all the difference for her. They can often have difficulty finding the right words when they speak. So, you know, it's almost like, I know Libby Hill, our amazing award-winning speech and language therapist who's going to be delivering this workshop, when she was explaining it to me, she said it's almost like tip of the tongue syndrome, where something's just on the tip of their tongue and they just can't quite remember it enough to be able to say the words. Sometimes they have difficulty with vocabulary, although with help, that can almost, well, they can almost recover from it in a way. I know my daughter she's had programs written by Libby since she was age 5. And now she has the most phenomenal vocabulary, to the point where she seems very, very mature with the words that she chooses. So it's great, the difference that it's made. Sometimes children struggle to carry out instructions that have been given to them. And like I said, they sometimes appear defiant. They struggle to structure sentences properly. And then, of course, there's those auditory processing difficulties where they're struggling to prioritize the sounds that they need in order to know what's going on around them. And of course, there's knock-on effects to all of this, and they can have DLD plus other things. My daughter has DLD plus dyspraxia and plus sensory processing difficulties, but children can be autistic with DLD as well. So it's such a complex presentation, but until we understand it more as parents and teachers, then of course we're not going to get those diagnostic assessments. So if you're interested in that, remember, use the code Jubilee70. And I think the tickets come in at next to nothing, to be honest with you. That's taking place tomorrow night with Libby Hill. I'll stop my screen share now. There we go. You can see me again. But the webinars that we've got on the 70% off sale, we've got challenging behavior. That's obviously a big one for an awful lot of parents, being able to understand that. But also for nurses, we tend to find that A&E nurses love this webinar because they're often presented with children who are perhaps thinking about the worst things that could possibly happen to them and wanting to do that. And they're having to manage them whilst they wait for a mental health team to come along. And quite often the child, if they're in that state of distress, can appear quite challenging. So these are really good webinars for professionals like that, but also parents and social workers and teachers. We've got a webinar on the 14th of June on exclusion, so understanding what is lawful and what isn't, and what the better choices are for teachers to make. We're going to be talking about early years, getting funding and understanding the diagnostic pathways for children who we suspect are neurodivergent, so autistic or have it, with ADHD perhaps. So we're going to be talking about the early years funding on the 28th of March. Then we've got anxiety, how to support an anxious child. We've got identifying, diagnosing and accepting children with FAS or FASD, so fetal alcohol syndrome. That is a very big and brand new topic that we're going to be covering. So again, the webinar discounts will cover these. We've got siblings, how to manage all the different needs within your family. We've got autistic parenthood, so exploring you as an autistic parent, not you as a parent of an autistic child, but you as an autistic parent or autistic adult. We've got autism and ADHD and how they present together. We've got mental capacity and post-16, which of course is our lovely Kathy Long. We've got another brand new webinar happening in August, and this is a live webinar only. It will not be recorded. So it's all about the watching it live, and that's how to effectively support transgender and non-binary young people, which is becoming a problem because people don't understand it. So the actual fact that they're transgender or non-binary is not a problem. It's the lack of support and acceptance around that person. So we're going to be doing that brand new webinar. That's with Mermaids UK. And it goes on. I could go on and on. We've got, honestly, like tens and tens of webinars. We'll put the links in the comments. Please do make good use of this webinar code, because it's not going to happen again, not in the near future anyway. And to have, 70% off is enormous. These ticket prices are down to about £5 each. Better than a McDonald's, guys. It's better for you than a McDonald's. Kathy says the FASD webinar will be phenomenal. I completely agree, Kathy. We get so many families who they're fobbed off with other diagnostic labels, and they are labels because they're not correct. And then they often then find that it is FAS or FASD. I think FASD is more difficult to look to find, because FAS is more the facial and physical features, where FASD is more the brain development side of things, isn't it? So it's going to be quite interesting to understand that. Laura says, I mentioned DLD to my son's speech therapist, instantly put it down to autism. This is what's quite frustrating, actually, Laura, because I've had lots of discussions with Libby Hill about this. Libby, for those who don't know, is a speech and language therapist. She's incredible. And Libby says, look, sometimes it could very well be autism, but when we have the diagnosis of autism, an awful lot of teachers write the children off. And they don't give them the support because they blame everything on autism. And actually, that's really frustrating because there's so much that we could do to help them. But with DLD, you can't almost write it off in the same way. You have to have a very structured program of speech and language program. Well, it's like a speech and language program, and it ideally needs to be done directly with the speech and language therapist. And so ignoring it and saying, actually, we're not going to support it because we think it's because of something else is absolutely not acceptable. So I would recommend coming along to this webinar because you can actually submit questions. So just for clarification, with all of our live webinars, you can submit questions to the speaker so they can answer your questions, and you can tailor that webinar completely to your needs, essentially. So do come along to that, Laura, because actually I know Libby finds this all the time, that people confuse the two, or they excuse the patterns of presentation for one or the other, and they don't give the child help, essentially. So she will talk to you about the different things that you can do. Evening, Charlotte. Lovely to have you watching. So let me just see if there are any other questions. I don't think there are, so this is good news. So if you do have any questions, or if you're really struggling this half term, or at any time, actually, just send us a message. There's always something we can do. We are a community interest company. We do an awful lot of things for free. We've also got a lot for low cost. And then we have our private services as well. So there's a variety of things. We do more for free than we do for anything else. And we don't receive funding. So an awful lot of it is funded by the company. So do get in touch, because there's usually something we can do. Even if you just come along to one of our cuppa and chats where our advocates maybe are present, or sometimes we have social workers present, our independent social work team. And sometimes I'm there. We've got amazing other parents who have all got amazing experiences to share. So don't suffer in silence. We can help you. But do send us a message if you need any help at all. And of course, with the webinars, do absolutely knock yourself out and book as many as you can, because we won't be doing this discount in the near future again, because it's absolutely enormous. And we really want you to benefit from it. So there's 70% off all of our live webinars. And with regards to our Sunshine Academy, of course, that's all of our past webinars, all in one place, all the best ones. And this that's $9.99 a month. So it's a bit like Netflix, but more beneficial, I guess, to your learning. You're probably not going to learn about autism or DLD in detail on Netflix. Netflix don't get any ideas. This one belongs to us. But do let us know if you need any help, okay? If there's anything I've said and you think, oh, I haven't got a clue what she's talking about, but it does sound interesting, just send us a message and I can clarify. So I don't think, I'm just going to double check that I've not got any more questions. Laura says, I'm definitely going to look more into DLD because my two sons, I feel, tick a lot of the criteria. They're 5 and 6. So they can diagnose from the age of 5, Laura. So actually, if they were to have an assessment by somebody like Libby, then she would be able to pick it out. And I must say, her assessments are so incredibly thorough. I've never seen anything quite like it. My daughter's had so many assessments with her, and my daughter would never identify them as assessments. They're so fun, to the point where my daughter firmly believes that Libby is her best friend. She calls her a soulmate because she's so incredible at what she does. She's just so natural. And the parents watching who have hired Libby or had Libby as a speech and language therapist will know exactly what I mean. She is amazing. So if you need us, get in touch. If you want to come to the webinar, any of the webinars, absolutely come along. We would love to have you there. If you have difficulty with any of it, if you have difficulty entering the code, remember, just send us a message. We're a friendly bunch. We will absolutely help you. But for now, I'm going to sign off, ready for our lovely 4-day break. I laugh because I personally don't ever get a break from this. I'm always trying to help people, but I will always try. But if you need us, get in touch, and have a lovely, lovely break. I hope that it is relaxing for you. I really hope that anybody who is experiencing stress, I hope that that dampens down and things become a little bit easier. Get in touch if you need any help, and we will see you again after the weekend. So have a lovely evening, everyone, and I'll see you soon. Bye.